Sim racers, welcome to the eRacing Association, where you have the chance to win $5,000 in one of the best tournaments in all of sim racing. Green flag in the air.
Are you ready to reach the next level of sim racing? The eRacing Association's epic Omega Cup Series lets you win big.
Is he gonna throw the block?
Racing with ERA lets you compete for huge cash prizes, get exclusive merch, exclusive sim hardware pricing, and potentially turn your virtual dreams into reality. Feel the rush as you race door to door against sim racers just like yourself, all from the comfort of your own home.
Straight away, they're into the...
Oh, they're wrecking! They're wrecking!
Join now to get your membership and experience all of the excitement that the eRacing Association has to offer at www.eragaming.gg.
Celebration, he hangs on!
Son, this is a Navy base, not a playground.
Sir, have a look.
So you think you got what it takes to fly with the Navy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll give you one shot. Bring him in.
Hey, can I get another cocktail?
Gentlemen, you are here because NASCAR wants you to have a street race on this base.
Hey, this is pretty sick, huh?
Oh, you think this is sick? If you want to race here, you got to show honor, courage, and commitment. You boys think you know speed? You haven't felt real speed. They're gonna flip you. They're gonna twist you. And just when you think you've reached your limit, they're gonna punch a hole in the sky and drag you with them.
Hey, Clark, you gonna do stuff with that pilot shit? Can't be any worse than you're driving. Sick bird, Peaches.
Speaking of sick,
The Bernard Carpenter's not gonna like that. Hey, boys, I feel the need. I feel the need. Seriously, guys. Need for speed. Does this thing go any faster? Oh, shit! Hell yeah, boy!
Not bad up there, gentlemen. But let's see how you handle this next mission. This is NASCAR street course, and that is the Navy security force. You make it to the finish line without getting caught, and you have my respect.
look at this turn right
We need
here.
to split up.
Let's just steal one of these fucking helicopters over here.
Dude, we're so done.
We're screwed.
Thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah.
Why did we not bring SDG? Guys, I got an idea.
Lights on! You think we can outrun them?
It ain't the car, it's the driver.
Man, this course is sick. We're almost to the finish line.
We lost him. Got him.
Gentlemen, we set the standard, and you matched it. And I am pleased to say that you belong here with us on this sacred ground.
Let's get to work on bringing NASCAR to the Navy.
Sometimes you got to get back to your roots. Remember where it all started.
NASCAR Thunder 2000.
Our goal was simple, make it authentic. The stories,
There's a fight, using lessons learned from his father.
the fans, the rivalries,
got into the side of the...
that feeling of being part of it all. That's why we went to work on this game. We've heard you. It's been a long time since we've had a game that captures what the sport is all about. Well, time is now. This one's built for the fan, for anybody who wants to experience what it's really like. All right, let's go. From the sound to the speed, to the venue. All there's left to do is fire it up.
This is what this sport's all about right here. Big moments like this.
That was a dangerous shot.
The gate opens, all bets are off, and you better react.
Like this is a picture-perfect driving.
This is what makes the difference.
Well, there you have it. This crowd just got to witness greatness.
And he can hear you right now.
Let's go.
Oh my God! I'm just in awe at how good the guys are riding. We are being treated to the best bull riding you want to watch right here.
Hey guys, I'm Indian Next champion Dennis Hauger, and you're watching Drafting the Circuits.
The four-cylinder Suzuki engine screaming off the starting line. Gadsden was 0-11 to Davis's 31, and Richard Gadsden 679 beats a 681, and Richard Gadsden has officially taken high control of Pro Stock Motorcycle.
Wow, I'm looking at Richard Gadsden at the top end, and I see the emotions here as the number 4 sets in for you, the second of this countdown. Who wins the Pro Stock Motorcycle Championship?
I hope it's me. I want it bad, and I hope that my results are showing that. I'm focused. I'm locked in. 2 years ago, I came here auditioning for this Vance & Hines gig, and I messed it up every way from Sunday. I never left the starting line. So I wanted Dallas bad. Dallas hadn't been too good to me, but I got to win today. This was a big points day for me. I'm like over the top. But, you know, each one, the first one's supposed to be the sweetest, but each one's just getting better and better. This is a big day. Thank you, Revzilla, Motul, Vance & Hines, Suzuki, Lincoln Welders, Summit Racing. I got some of you guys. I missed some of you guys, but I'm too excited right now. Thank you, guys.
Both cars picking the front end up. It's 100th separation on the starting line. Across the finish line stripe, and it will be Dallas Glenn, 660 with a 5, beats a 662.2. Jolie Stanfield expressing the emotion of sadness on the starting line as the Rad Torque Systems crew celebrates as they've done so much this year.
Dallas, you just said I've always wanted one of these, and your 20th career Wally will be your 7th this season with Greg Anderson out earlier today. Why might this race be the difference maker in this countdown?
Well, that'll take it from 40 to 60, so that's 2 rounds in Pomona. So we need to stop Greg from getting those little points there during qualifying. We need to just keep getting more rounds, keep going. This one's for John Peterson. You know, he's a co-worker. Everybody knows him, nicest guy ever. You know, we lost him. He lost his battle of cancer. Man, I love winning in front of the Rad Torque owners. Rad Torque System, you can't thank them enough. I mean, I wouldn't be here without them. For 5 years, they've supported me. I love everything about them. Summit, HendrickCars.com, DPF Parts Direct, Jesse, J&A Service, VP Fuels. Thank you. Let's go.
The parachutes out for Caps. Austin Prock rips his way to a Texas victory, 395.9 at 328. This race stymied them last year. They had trouble in the early rounds. A mistake stopped them. Nothing stopped them today.
Austin Prock laughing up here about the size of this cowboy hat, but I don't think it matters about the size of the points that you have in this championship. Austin, I know what you're looking at on that time slip. Why are you your toughest competitor out here?
Well, I just want to be the best all the time, for not only for myself, but really for my team. You know, they put a lot of work into this, and I just have to go play for, 3.9 seconds, but they work day in, day out, and bust their tails in this heat, and to bring home a win. All my boys are getting cowboy hats, and they're stoked about that. My blower guy Bobby is getting married in the winter, and they're wearing cowboy hats to his wedding. So we're all getting cowboy hats. You're welcome, Bobby. Good job today, and really proud of this Cornwell Tools team. Everyone at Task Force Rahal that was out here this weekend, super cool to get them in the winner's circle, and proud of my family, proud of this team. Thank you.
Doug Coletta, 55 light last round. Steve's going to have to step on it to stay with that. And again, the dragsters explode off the starting line. Misfiring cylinders for Torrance. Doug Coletta, another win. 377.7, 333 miles an hour. Torrance took the starting line, but Doug Coletta has utterly seized control of a championship run.
And Doug, we talked to you at the top of the show, and you told us that the difference for you today between the other competitors was your team, Alan Johnson, and led by you, the driver. How massive will today be for your second championship hunt?
Yeah, we're trying to go rounds and stay ahead of these guys. Everybody's hungry right now, so just really hats off to Toyota, Mac Tools, RevChem, everybody that supports us here in Clade Air. So yeah, huge relief to get this win here. Real big deal for us.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Drafting the Circus program brought to you by Sinister One Productions. My name is Frank Santorowski. I'll be your host for the next hour as we break down last week in racing, hit up on the daily news, and preview next week for you. Joining me, Levi and Richard Uden. How we doing, fellas?
How's it going? I think I'm on the wrong podcast. This is the racing podcast tonight and not the rodeo podcast.
Yeah, I know. You've got a giant bull behind you, man.
I might have to switch hats here. That's the dust. That's when the dust settles. That's the other pod.
That's pretty well endowed bull as well, isn't it? Wow.
The guy, this guy, he is.
Careful where you're pointing. Careful where you point.
I got it. I'm covering it up. Yeah. So this is the When the Dust Settles bull. We're actually gonna have a little contest to give him a name.
Oh.
So, yeah, so that'd be fun. But yeah, I think I'm definitely on the wrong podcast tonight. All right. Well,
yeah, I'm looking at the topics tonight, and I didn't see Lee does blatant self-promotion.
No, I had that. Sorry.
Anyway, while you're changing hats, I'll thank our sponsors, Jesse Iwuji and Emmit Smith with their venture, ERA eRacing. NASCAR on Fox 25, San Diego in 2026. NASCAR 25 game was released yesterday. Matter of fact, Keith's going to get online and play it later tonight. We got a launch trailer featuring Dale Earnhardt Jr. You might have heard of him. Once again, Sinister One Productions will be at the PBR covering in Manchester and in Boston. Again, thanks to Million Podcasts for the awards they've given us recently. So that takes care of the paying the bills for tonight. And Lee, since you're already so talkative, let's lead off with the NHRA, Texas National. I guess the Texas Nationals, you could have kept the cowboy hat on.
I probably could have.
Yeah, you probably could have. So, so let's run through that. I think I want to say maybe Austin Brock took a Wally home.
Yeah, Austin Brock got himself a Wally. So it was a fun field weekend. It was the times and the speeds were kind of off pace quite a bit because it was just so hot in Texas this weekend. As we've mentioned, with heat, the cars don't generate a lot of power, so the speeds go down. But and like you said, funny car, Austin Prock with John Force Racing, he got the Wally for that one, and it was almost 4 seconds for him to go down the track. And in drag racing, that's like break out the calendars, set your smartphones for like in half an hour. But yeah, so 3.959 for only 328 miles an hour. Only 328.
I was gonna say that was only 328 miles an hour. The cars were slow. I want my money back.
Yeah. Too slow.
So I don't get out of bed for that, do you?
No. And so Austin has actually a 112-point lead over Matt Hagan. So Matt is not mathematically out of it. We'll get into some point breakdowns here in a little bit, but everybody is still within shots, and we have 2 races left in the season. So top fuel, we saw Doug Coletta. He posted a 377 at 333 miles an hour, which is quite a bit faster than what Austin did, which is good. And Coletta, he all 4 races that we've had in the playoffs this year, he has advanced to the final round for. So that's a pretty impressive number in itself. And he's got a 141-point lead over his closest rival in Justin Ashley.
How many points for a win?
So that's great lead-up question, because I have a whole notepad here of points breaks down. So
good.
NHRA has a really odd point structure. So let's say I won qualifying, which is the final, you get the number 1 position in qualifying. I'm the fastest driver going into Sunday. I get 8 points. If I complete a qualified lap down the track, just one, doesn't matter if I make the finals or anything else, as long as I make 1 qualified run down the track, I get 10 points. If I have the quickest time out of the whole weekend in my class, I get 3 points. And then come Sunday, when we do eliminations, the winner, the person that gets the Wally, they get 100 points. Second place gets 80 points, and then it's a couple other places down that. So mathematically, if you captured all 3 of these, if you were the number 1 qualifier, obviously you had a qualified ride down the track, you were the quickest driver in your class, and you also won, you could get a total of 121 points possible throughout the whole weekend.
Okay, so these 120 and 140-point leads are not unassailable.
No,
but
they
you
are
probably need to hope that your the guy ahead of you has some issues.
Correct. Yeah, you really want to hope that the guy you're trailing behind, your gal, really has a bad weekend and you have a really great weekend. Has anybody ever scored exactly 121 points in a weekend? There's only a handful. It's a very rare situation that you go from qualifying to winning. And I think Doug Coletta is actually one of them that's done it. But yeah, very, very very rare to do that. So we get out of the top fuel class, and we get down into like the gas powered class in Pro Stock Dallas Green, 6.605 seconds with 208 miles an hour.
You're just crawling.
Yeah, I mean, it's still fast. Like, that's like way faster than I ever want to drive in a vehicle. He notched a win over Aaron Stanfield. He has a 60-point lead over his teammate Greg Anderson, and that's Dallas's 7th win this season. So he's doing pretty good. Pro Stock Motorcycle, the guy that we thought was going to be walking away with the championship this year, that would be Gage Herrera. He is not. He is not doing well at all. He is 72 points behind the leader in Richard Gadsden, who also happened to win this past weekend.
See, that's all my fault for jinxing him.
I know. Right?
When I said Gage Herrera never loses, and he started losing.
He's losing.
So I'm sorry, Gage. Sorry, ma'am.
Well, I mean, he's still mathematically in it. He can still get a Wally, but it's tough. You know, the top fuel folks, like I said, Coletta and Austin Prock, mathematically they still can be overtaken. The possibilities of that happening are almost slim to none at this point. But we'll definitely find out, you know, mathematically who's in and who's out. You know, we should find out by the next race, which is in Vegas. That's coming up at the end of the month on October 31st.
Oh, Halloween races, huh?
Yeah, that'll be the Nevada Nationals, and hopefully leaving that, we probably have a pretty good idea who's going to walk home with the championship for the year. And that championship race will be the weekend of November 14th in Pomona, California. So
that's where they traditionally end the season, correct?
Yeah, yep. That's our the traditional. It's like the Daytona, I guess. We always start in Gainesville, Florida, for the Gator Nationals, and then we always finish in Pomona. And this year, so we coming up the weekend before the Nevada Nationals, there's actually a race in Georgia. It's called the Showcase of Speed. And it's just kind of an exhibition thing for the NHRA because on the 2026 season, they're actually going to do a points race in Georgia. So they're doing kind of like a little soft opening, I guess. And they're going to have a day. They're not doing a full weekend. They're just going to have a day, go in there, you know, kind of do qualifying a little bit, show the fans what it's like. So that should be fun. And then the next
kind of
weekend,
like similar to like when a series goes ahead and tests at a track, in anticipation to go in there, like IndyCar did with Barber years ago. They had the spring training at Barber, then then that has morphed into one of the most fun events of the year and well attended. So
yeah, and it's kind of like the LA Coliseum with NASCAR. You know, they did that for 2 years with anticipation that would turn into, you know, a points paying race, and it just didn't turn out to be that way. So.
It's way too small. You
know
what I mean? It's just way too gimmicky, you know?
Yep. Way too small, way too flat. And there's just the seats, there's not enough. I mean, would I want to sit on concrete bleachers for like 2.5, 3 hours to watch cars go around in a circle? No, I'm good. But thank you. I appreciate it.
The LA Coliseum, that was built in 1980?
Yeah,
for the Olympics.
Summer Olympics. Yeah, that was where they shot the flaming arrow over the top of the cauldron to light the fire that year.
Yeah. Long time ago.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like that long, but
they lit it manually, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
Now, if you look, you can see the arrow
going over
in the background, missing, and they flicked a switch to light it.
Yeah.
Not that I could have got it anywhere near, so I'm not criticizing them.
No, and I think that was intentional. I think they didn't want to go in the thing. I think it was a visual thing, but I was
still looked pretty cool though. Yeah,
I was like 9 when that happened, and so. But yeah, so that wraps up NHRA out of Texas. Like I said, it was a hot one in the South this weekend.
All right, so let's go from one hot place to another. Let's go to Vegas. Get your gambling money on you there, okay? Get your money for tickets to the Sphere. But we're going to talk about the NASCAR race down there. Richard, awful lot of Toyotas in the top 10 there. You guys had a great weekend. Denny Hamlin at the top of the order there. So why don't you take us through NASCAR a little bit?
Yeah, so it's the first round of first race of the round of 8, the penultimate section, if you like, of the playoff ladder.
Yep, this is where we decide who the 4 championship contenders will be.
Yeah, so again, 3 races, win and you're in, as long as you're in the playoff 8. If any of those 8 win any of the next 3 races, you win, you're in. If not, it's points-based. And yeah, from a Toyota perspective, we had a pretty damn good weekend, really. I think we had top 3 spots in qualifying. All of our cars looked competitive. Probably the class of the field outside of the Toyotas was, there's 2 standouts. There was 5 of Larson and the 24 of William Byron. Early in the race, Ryan Blaney, I think, had a tire go down and he hit the wall out of the race, basically putting him in a position where he has to win now either Talladega this coming weekend or Martinsville the following to get back to the championship 4 and with an opportunity to take his 2nd championship.
Yeah, and as we know, both Talladega and Martinsville are unpredictable tracks.
Yeah,
especially Talladega. So,
yeah, Talladega being a super speedway, you can put anybody on that. The thing with Martinsville is you can make things happen there. You know, at a mile and a half like Las Vegas, it's difficult to make stuff happen if you don't have the pace because you're running wide open all the time. If you look at what you can do at Martinsville, as we saw with Ross Chastain a couple of years ago in a move that they've now made illegal, but you can move people, you can get inside people, and if you need to pass somebody on that final lap to get into the playoffs, you can certainly do it if you need to. So
yeah, but conversely, you could also be the guy that gets moved.
For sure.
Or, yeah, I mean,
sure.
Who was it that took Logano out? Logano won all 3 races in a row, and then Kansas just took him out of Martinsville.
Oh no, he had brake failure.
Yeah.
But no, so for everybody, everybody in that the round of 8, Vegas was circled as the, this is the one where it's the most predictable outcome, I think. And yeah, the 12 of Blaney had an issue there, so he's in a must-win situation now. And the other car that was, hate to see, although it did benefit ourselves with Toyota, but the 24 was quick all weekend on the long runs. Qualifying didn't quite have the pace, but on the 10, 15, 20 lap averages from practice, he was the class of the field, and he showed that during the race. He had some pace in that car. Both himself and Carl Larson, both of those Hendrick cars had pace. Then I think midway through the final stage, there was some confusion on the spotter stand and on the track. Ty Dillon in the 10 car for Colleague Racing was looking to pit. Took a slightly unusual line going into pit road, trying to get onto pit road, and slowed down basically right in the racing line, and William Byron just had nowhere to go, and that was a big hit. They're thinking, I'm sure they'll know exactly by now, but they were thinking up to anywhere up to like a 50 to 60, 70 mile an hour speed differential between the 2 cars. And yeah, obviously, a shame for Byron. He's been a really solid driver all year. Had a bit of a lull mid-season, but some of the pace that those Hendrick Motorsport cars were showing over the weekend, yeah, they would have been a threat. And a shame, real shame for that team and that organization. Typically in that situation, because Ty Dillon was pitting out of sequence, there's 2 things that'll happen. And they don't do it quite so much as they used to, but the drivers used to put the hand out the window net going down the back stretch so that the cars behind can see that he's intending to pit. But also, it's typical for the spotters on the tower to communicate with each other to say, hey, my guy's coming to pit, especially to the other cars that are behind them. And, literally, they'll just walk down the spotter stand and say, especially at somewhere, like a Vegas where you're not on the radio constantly, like you would be at Super Speedway, he will walk down the 2 or 3 laps before the pit. He'll walk down, the spotter stand and say to, the spotter of a car behind, hey, look, we're going to be picking a couple of laps, so they can warn the driver. Now, Ty Dillon's spotter claimed that he did warn 24 spotter. 24 spotter said he didn't hear anything. Somebody's obviously not, something got lost in translation. But what we do know as of this afternoon, the spotter for Ty Dillon's been fired for the remainder of the year.
All right.
Fired
So,
outright.
so if you need a suspect spotter,
yeah,
here's a guy looking for work. So
yeah. Well,
find him on
it'd
LinkedIn.
already been announced that he wasn't going to be spotting in 2026, but he was going to remain within the team with a colleague organization in some other capacity. That deal's gone as well.
Yeah.
So
that
happened. It was
It was a tough wreck.
It was difficult. It's just something that catches you anyway. It's not like you got to feel sorry for Barron. Obviously, he didn't make a mistake.
No.
There's nothing he could have done to have stopped it from happening. But it was pretty galling. It's bad. It's not great. But again, Barron's in this must-win situation now going into these final two races, pretty much. But I mean, your top four as it stands at the moment, I believe, obviously Hamlin's into the final four.
Yep.
With his win, 60th Cup Series win.
That's a nice milestone win. Yep.
Yeah, from a Toyota perspective, I hate the word. I hate this word with a passion. The winningest driver for Toyota in NASCAR Cup Series. I believe he's passed Kyle Busch's record. So Denny's in, Chris Bell, Kyle Larson, and Chase Briscoe, I believe, are the remaining three drivers. So as it stands
right,
at the moment, we've got three Toyotas and a Chevy in there, which would be a fantastic achievement for ourselves. But there's a long way to go, as you mentioned, Frank. Talladega is a crapshoot. Anybody can win. Probably from our perspective, we want an unknown to win. If it's not going to be, one of our two drivers, we want a, guy way out the playoffs to. Sort of offset the balance, I guess is the right word.
Sure. Have Van Gisbergen win it.
Well,
Chase Briscoe's about as good as Chase Briscoe's about as good as going to get in that outside seat.
Yeah, Chase is that guy's got got some pace. And I'll tell you one thing, I can be quite critical of drivers a lot of the time, especially in the Cup Series with the work ethic. Chase is the hardest working driver I've seen in the Cup Series in terms of his application, his time that he dedicates to it, the amount of time he's in the simulator, the amount of time he's, at the shop or at our shop, wherever it may be. You've got to give the kid credit. He's really embraced the challenge of coming to, a leading organization.
Yeah, taking over former champions ride. Yeah.
It's daunting to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And to, was he, I think given the timing of Martin's retirement, it made a bit of a challenge for JGR and the Toyota family, because as all manufacturers do, we have a development program for our drivers. And there was probably nobody really in the position to fill that car. Now, we've obviously got some talented drivers in the wings, but it was a little early for them. So obviously, coach and the rest of the JGR organization went out looking for a replacement driver, and then Chase has had a good solid junior career and a few years in the Cup Series with Stewart Haas Racing, but again, somebody that never really dug up too many trees, as it were. And you've got to give him credit where credit's due. He's really stepped into this role, and he was shaky at the start of the year for sure, but I think he's got most pole positions this year in the Cup Series at 7, I think it is. Got a few, got a couple of wins thrown in there. this kid can, he'll be a threat if he can get to Phoenix. He'd be something to watch because that team, that car, James Small's the crew chief there. He was on Martin Truex's car when he won the championship. He knows what it takes to get it done. He's a great, he's Australian guy. He doesn't take, any bullshit, to put it bluntly. He's really he's a great influence on the rest of his team. And I think Chase benefits from having that no nonsense attitude as well. So yeah, if they can get through the next 2 races and make it to Phoenix, there'd be some smart money on him for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show what having a well-funded team will get you. I mean, Chase has always been an outstanding driver. Tony's pretty notorious for picking the good drivers.
Oh yeah,
without not the big name drivers, but the guys that can drive cars like really, really well that don't have that big name behind them. And he did honestly. Tony Stewart, Haas and Tony Stewart didn't have the stuff in the shop that JGR does with the $1 million simulators and this, that, and the other thing. Because Tony, that was a small team, but now that he's got it, it's like a kid in a candy store. I can only imagine. So only
it's I do have a certain amount of respect for these drivers that have come up, in the form that you say, from a lesser funded team, a lesser funded group, and when they, they've earned their opportunity in a better funded car, in a car and an organization that really gives them the tools to extract the best out of themselves. And yeah, you've got to really, give Chase all the praise in the world. Excuse me. In many ways, to me, I think he's been the most improved driver of the year. I've been seriously impressed with him.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more.
All right, so now is the annual time of the year where we talk about, is Denny Hamlin finally going to win a championship, or will he come up short again? I mean, here's a guy, he's been in the Final Four numerous times. He's been in the championship numerous times. He's won, he's won the majors. He's won the plenty of races. The only thing blatantly missing on his resume is that Cup championship. So, I mean, Richard, what are your thoughts on Denny this year? I mean, he's getting older. He's embroiled in this lawsuit, but as we saw last weekend, still winning races.
Yeah, I mean,
still just as good on the track as ever.
Yeah, the guy's got a lot on his plate, doesn't he? I mean, you look at, he's won 6 races now this year. Could have won a couple more quite easily. As you say, this ongoing dispute between the team he owns, 2311, and NASCAR, which is a dangerous game to be playing when you're, you could argue actually it helps him because NASCAR have got to pay fair with him. If NASCAR tried to do anything funny, then he's got a prime, ace up his sleeve to turn around and say, well, you're just discriminating against me because I'm suing you. So, NASCAR got to be careful. He had a child this year. Missed one of the races in Mexico due to the birth of a I think it was a boy, baby boy. And unfortunately, his father's not in great health right now. So he's got a lot going on. I know for a fact that no matter what happens the next 3 weekends, he's looking forward to the off season for a well-earned mental reset. For sure. But yeah,
But how nice would it be to start that mental reset with that cup on your mantle,
Yeah, and he for whatever reason he's been. I know he's a controversial figure, but he's not really. I mean, he's not a dirty driver. He's not a overly aggressive driver. I mean, he does what he needs to do, but it's not bad.
Yeah,
but he just plays that villain really well, and I think he likes it. But I think with a lot of what's been going on this year, you actually saw a different side of Denny in the car on Sunday after the race.
Yeah.
He was very subdued and very he wasn't this brash sort of character that we see, and he was actually really taken back, I think, with the emotion of it all, because as anybody knows, when you're going through anything like that, the emotions that get released are magnified infinitely, almost, and so for him to be in a position there to just to let it all go and to see that real raw emotion from Denny is a little bit unusual. We don't get to normally see that. As I say, he normally likes playing the, as we'd call it back home in England, the pantomime villain. But yeah, a lot of respect for Denny there. I think it's, there's a lot going on there, and as I say, give it a couple, 3 weeks time, we'd be love to be sat here talking about, somebody achieving a championship. He's been, I think, pretty much there's only of the current playoff format, I think there's only 1 year he missed, and that's when he broke his back in Auto Club in Fontana. So the guys, statistically, you've got to win one, surely.
Yeah, you would think, right?
But yeah, God. If we get a champion out of any of the three drivers, Denny, Chris, or Chase, hey, amazing performance this year. But both Chase and Chris are young guys in the grand scheme of things, and they're going to have other opportunities. Denny's 44, he's going to be 45 later in the year. So, those opportunities aren't going to come around every day. And it'll be great to see him get that monkey off his back. You could very well see it that what if he gets one, and if he can keep his motivation and his speed up, it could be something that opens the floodgates and he gets 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Denny Hamlin fan by any stretch of the imagination, but this guy deserves a championship.
Yeah.
When you look at Joey Logano with 3 cups on his mantle and Denny with 0, you think something's wrong with the world, right? So,
yep. And I think
no disrespect to Joey Logano, but
that's how the playoffs work, and we know that. We know how the playoff works, and you've just got to do what you've got to do. Do the Patriots in whatever it was 2011 when they won every game apart from the Super Bowl? They still don't win the trophy.
2007,
were they the best team that year? Yeah, they were the best team by a long, long way. Well, oh God.
And
my Kansas City hat was dirty.
Richard, I think you hit the nail on the head with all that Denny's got going on in his personal life right now. Anytime there's some instance like that, there's some sort of tragedy or life-altering shift in what you're doing, it can kind of motivate people to do things differently. And like Denny was, I mean, he was task focused on Sunday. Not that he's never is, but it just seemed like he was more task focused than normal. He came off that last pit stop. He was the only, out of the lead 10, he was the only guy to put 4 on. And he hunted down them top cars. I mean, it was a clinic on why you want to put 4 tires on when you can. I mean, granted, you're going to take a gamble coming out on 2, but you really have better be good, because you're going to get hunted down, and that's exactly what happened. And the emotion after the race was raw, and is this, maybe does he have a little bit of shift in his focus going into this, because he doesn't have that, I need to win a championship on the back of my mind. He's more focused on his dad. For sure. And maybe that's a little motivation in itself. Hey, gonna do this for dad. Because his dad's been a huge part of his life, just like all of us. But he was really task focused on Sunday, and there was, at the end of the race, we saw that real raw emotion. And
and I think also maybe all these other off-track activities and things that we were obviously weighing on him heavily, maybe acts as a distraction, you know, and maybe that's what he needs.
Yeah.
But as you know, as you mentioned, Frank, we're off to Talladega this weekend.
Talladega, the other bit of NASCAR news, which is really kind of a non-news story. Justin Haley out at Spire Motorsports. I don't know that how's that going to change the landscape of NASCAR at all, but that was
the talk of Daniel Suarez going to take that spot.
I like
Spire.
Suarez. Suarez is a good driver.
He's a solid driver. You know, obviously Justin Haley's been there a while. I think he won a race for them at one of the super speedways a few years ago. No, it's a super speedway race. I think it was a rain shortened one. Yeah, you know, you started. I mean, this year's not. I don't think there's many seats open for next year left in the Cup garage.
Yeah, not a lot of
in
change
reality,
next
not
year,
especially certainly not of the big teams. So we'll see how that all pans out over the coming weeks and months. But I think it's really set, unless a driver makes an announcement or a decision to change. But yeah, I think that they're pretty well set.
All right, so Talladega, Lee, who do you like for Talladega?
I'm gonna go with Mr. Chase Briscoe. I think he's really got. He's firing on all cylinders. Terrible pun, but it's true. Like, he's. I think we'll see him in winner's circle at Talladega.
All right, Richard.
It could be anybody. I hate.
I know. I hate picking Talladega.
Yeah, it's, you know, whoever's fifth going into the last lap.
Yeah.
But that last lap could be 10 laps at the way Talladega goes, you know.
And also Talladega with where the start finish line is a little bit unique. It's at the exit of the tri-oval, almost all the way to turn one. So you've not got it's not just the race off turn 4. It's then the drag down, you know, through the start finish kink, if you like, which can, you know, you can get to within 100 feet of that start finish line and the caution comes out. It's and it's, you know, it is made to be that way. And because the original plan, you may not, the original plan for Talladega was for it to be built just outside of Raleigh in North Carolina. They had some land set aside to build it. And then for whatever reason, I'm sure I can't remember the exact reasoning. They moved it down to Talladega.
Well, there you go, Raleigh.
Well, there you
go.
And
way to go.
The rest is history.
I mean, Raleigh would have had 4 NASCAR tracks if they'd done that, or 5 if you count Bowman Gray. It's a little bit greedy.
All right, so Talladega, you know, guy with a great record at Talladega is Keselowski. And that's a guy who really could use a win. But then again, you know, that shuts out some of the other guys, like, you know, the 2 Penske guys who are at the bottom of the order there. You know, this is after 3 consecutive Penske championships. Both their guys are in danger of being eliminated. So you never know. Logano's a pretty good plate racer too. So but yeah, it wouldn't hurt my feelings to see him not make it. Although I like Blaney though. So all right, so let's move on to INDYCAR. One of the stories that we've been paying attention to for a while is VeeKay was one of the first guys early on in the silly season to announce that he wouldn't be returning to Dale Coyne Racing, which has fueled all kind of speculation as to where he's going to end up. People had him in the Penske car. People had him in the Foyt car. Well, today he announced he'll be going to the Juncos car, replacing Conor Daly. And
that's why that we have to. That is why Jess is not on the show tonight. She's in mourning.
Yeah, the whole thing about the mother-in-law not watching the kid. Yeah, that's just a cover.
Bullshit.
I hear I can hear the tears from here.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. If
Exactly.
we see
reports, she said she's
splitting in St. Louis, we know why.
She's asked us for patience and quiet in her time of
reflection,
in her dark times. So, but yeah, so here's Conor on the outside looking in yet again. I mean, here's a guy who's 131 starts, in the series. 2 podiums, 1 pole, 0 wins. Now he's got several top 10 finishes at the Indy 500. He generally runs well there, generally runs well on ovals, but he's never been able to kind of piece anything together to that you would call a competitive championship season. And of course, all the Conor Daly apologists are coming out and saying the things, oh, well, somebody needs to give Conor an opportunity in a good car and he'll show you what he's got. Well, how long are we going to listen to this? How many opportunities are we going to give this guy? He's had full season with Coyne, full season with Foyt. He had 2 full seasons where he was doing ovals for Carlin and road courses for Carpenter. Then he had another full season with Carpenter where he was doing all the races with Carpenter. Then another half season until the sponsor fired him, evidently. I don't know.
He bought on board.
Yeah, the sponsor he brought on board. And I still don't know what happened there. I talked to Conor. He wouldn't tell me. But and then he's got numerous times where he's jumped in as an injury replacement for somebody, right? And with varying results, but 11 seasons, his best finish in the championship is 17th. And then he's feeling about, well, he needs to be in a Penske or a Ganassi. I'm like, you need to, if you want to be in a Penske car, you have to earn it. Ganassi, if you want to be in the 9 or 10 car, you have to earn it. If you want to be in the 8 car, you have to buy it. That's Ganassi for you. But yeah, but Conor has, he filled in at Andretti for a while. They put him in a car at the 500. He did well, but not well enough that they considered him for a full-time ride. So I won't say this is the end of the line for Conor Daly, because this guy always seems to find a lifeline somewhere just by being available. And then, the first guy that has an issue that gets hurt or gets sick, Conor will be right there with helmet in hand. Say, okay, I'm ready. I got my seat in the back of the truck. So, but yeah, I think it's fair. It's fair. Conor did okay with Juncos, but I think VeeKay is realistically a better driver. And Conor has his place in the series, but it's just the apologists, his fan base. They just, much as I like Jessica, they just keep saying the same stuff over again. He deserves a shot. How many shots?
Yeah,
he's had all the shots in the world. You know what I mean?
Connor's a good driver, but he's not a winning driver.
Vaccine, isn't it?
Yeah, how do you get to a Penske car? Oh, you win races in a smaller team, unless you're David Malukas.
You mean like Malukas has? Yeah.
No, not Malukas. That's what I say. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the big news. The Palou McLaren court case is actually getting a little ugly. With Palou's,
he said, she said.
Yeah, Palou's guys are saying that he was promised this and this and this, and now Zach Brown is saying, oh, they're fabricating information, and
I think there's a little bit of naivety there, isn't there? I think there's, when you look at it, I think that to really turn around and say that, unless you write something down in a contract, to turn around and say, oh, I'm going to promise you a Formula One seat.
Yeah, if that was in the contract, right? But the whole thing started to fall apart when they signed Oscar Piastri. And Palou realized, well, there's no Formula One seat for me. So yeah.
I hate it because I think it's a little bit of naivety there from them. And God, I wish that, I think it's a very naive defense. And I think obviously I'm not a legal expert, but I think it probably will fall on the side of McLaren's favor.
Definitely whatever McLaren paid him, they should get back. Now,
Yeah, and
McLaren's
I think
claim
that's
that
all
they
we'll
lost $31 million in potential future sponsorship agreements, that number's inflated as hell. I'll tell you that.
Oh, for sure. Without
You know
any
what I mean?
hesitation.
Because if you look at McLaren, they're doing just fine with sponsors.
Yeah.
You know, they've got all kind of sponsors on that car. Big money sponsors, too.
Yeah.
So
I think you're right there, Frank, for sure.
I don't think Palou not signing cost them anything.
No.
So
no, I think you're right there. I think what they'll do is they'll obviously get the refund. I mean, well, you could argue that he actually did work for them in that period, and he so he doesn't actually owe them anything.
He did.
I think,
he did a free practice one somewhere, didn't he?
He did the US F1 race in Austin. He did a Coda, so he'll have done a lot of work for them during that time period.
Yeah,
I've got a funny feeling the judges are going to turn around and say, "Guys, you're being idiots. Piss off."
Yeah.
Just go and I'm surprised it's even got to this stage. I really am, but I think unfortunately that's what happens when you get the egos thrown around. And drivers and owners and team principals and managers wanting to trying to make themselves sound good and powerful, and that they could have just turned around and said, you know what, let's just be big boys and girls and go and get on with our lives and not worry about it. But never works like that, does it?
All right, so Mick Schumacher had his first run in the IndyCar.
Yep.
With Rahal Letterman, did well. Was close to the top of the standings there. Dennis Hauger, who's the rating.
He won the NXT championship, didn't he?
NXT championship. Yeah, he's side with Dale Quinn. He topped the charts. So, yeah.
Did he have a link to any of the bigger teams? Because obviously he's he was pretty impressive in the NXT championship last year, wasn't he? Does he have a tie-in, or is that
with Andretti?
Okay, yeah.
He's essentially on loan to Coyne till Andretti finds a spot for him. Same, just like Marcus Armstrong is on loan to MSR.
Yeah.
Until Scott Dixon retires, right? So
So
that's why it's Andretti entered into a
Armstrong may retire before Dixon at this rate.
Yeah, well, there you go. But Coyne and Andretti have agreed to a technical alliance, and the technical, and Coyne's part of the agreement was we'll put Dennis Hauger in the seat. So that's all being bankrolled by Andretti. But I mean, fastest and there was only 7 cars in the session. So, but good for him though. So Mick Schumacher, of course, took all the headlines being son of a famous Formula One champion. But for his part, he said he enjoyed driving the Indy car.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be open to it. I don't know if we'll actually see him in that car next year. Hard to say.
He said he was very open to doing a full season as well. He'd be interested in doing the ovals as well, and not just the street and road courses. So that was an interesting take. Mind you, it'll be a bit of a climb down for the Schumacher family after what his dad said about the series back in the day. He was less than complimentary about it, but it is what it is. But no, I think that I think that Mick has a huge amount of talent. I think his name, unfortunately, probably has worked against him a little bit in his career. And I think he's one of these guys that needs a little bit of hand-holding and a little bit of an arm around his shoulder. And unfortunately, when he was with Haas and Gunter Steiner, he didn't get that.
No.
And, so maybe he can come here and be in a little bit more of a, relaxed environment that will suit him a little bit better. And he can go out there and show everybody what he's capable of, because the talent's there for sure.
Right. So not a lot of open seats left in Indy. We still don't know what's going on with Prima. But now the Junkos Hollander seats are taken up.
Did Schumacher drive for Prima when he won the championship in F2?
Maybe.
Let's have a look.
I don't know. You can look that up. But the AJ Foyt seat is one of the open ones. That's a lot of people thought that was where VeeKay was going to land. Now, Junko's Hollinger seat, a lot of people thought Grosjean was going to land there. So, but my money's on the young guy, Kyle Collette, that AJ tested, and the guy was just absolutely brilliant in the car. My money's on that guy to take the fourth seat. So,
bear with me. Yeah, Mick drove for Prema in Formula 2. And it always takes him a couple of years to get going. Every year, when you did well, the first year he was, then the second year he was really competitive. Like, the FIA Formula 3, first year he was like 12th, second year he won it. Formula 2, first year he was 12th, second year he won it. So, you need to give him a little bit of time. But yeah, he's got potential for sure.
All right, so let's move on to the Formula 1 world, where whenever we have an off week, the rumor mills are in full swing. And of course, the hot rumor that was going around for a while is that we're going to see just a straight up swap between Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri. I personally, I don't see that happening. Richard, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, they're putting 2 and 2 together to make 5, aren't they? In that situation, I think.
Right.
I don't think there's any doubt that Oscar's been, had his back put out a little bit, or his nose put out of joint a little bit by some of the things that happened in the last few races, which we've discussed on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he doesn't feel the love right now.
He's still leading the championship.
Well, exactly. So he's a very... It's interesting, I look at him, and as you say, he's still leading the championship, and you think, God, not how is he leading the championship? That's a disrespectful thing to say, but he doesn't, he's such quiet and unassuming, and goes about his way. I imagine he's what Alan Prost was like back in his day.
Sure, yeah.
When he was coming through, the professor. Very calculated, very methodical, very diligent. Didn't go out there and go, oh, look at me, look how good I am. He was just good, and he let to coin a phrase, let the driver do the talking. And certainly he's done that. The last couple of weekends obviously have been a little disappointing. In Baku, where he crashed out early in the race, that was just a weekend to forget for him. And then the issues that we saw in Singapore, but the kid's still leading the championship. He's still favourite to win the championship. We're on this little sort of continental America, swing. So, if he has 3 good weekends in Coda, Mexico City, and Sao Paulo, and then I think they're back in Vegas, he pretty much got the thing wrapped up.
Yeah, it's getting a little tougher though, because both Red Bull and McLaren have caught up to them significantly. So, but so long as Oscar can maintain, top 3 to 5 finishes, I think he'll maintain the points lead. So,
yeah. I mean, there's still technically 4 drivers still in the championship. I mean, Leclerc still has a technical chance of winning the championship. A little slim, I think, but there's still technically in with a shot.
Yeah, now, of course, the Leclerc situation is that he's very just disenamored with Ferrari right now. But
is that on a... Yeah,
but who isn't?
Exactly.
Ferrari hasn't shown any kind of medal since 2008. So...
No, I mean, when was the last time? Their last drivers' championship was
2008.
Raikkonen in
2008.
7, wasn't it?
2008.
I thought it was
2007.
Yeah, because Lewis won it in 8.
2008 was Hamilton, yeah.
Yeah, so 2007. So, I mean, you're getting on for 18 years. I mean, we're almost at the same duration as the dark days between Scheckter and Schumacher winning at 21 years, I think it was.
Because Schumacher was 2000 Scheckter was 79.
Yeah,
79,
so
yeah.
I mean, give it to 2028, and that time period will have equaled. And we never thought we'd see that again. Yeah, it's difficult to know what's going on there. I mean, it's like they've signed all the drivers. You look at the drivers that have been there in that time period. Vettel, Raikkonen, Hamilton, Alonso.
Oh God, who's the guy that got hit in the face with the
Massa?
Massa, yeah.
They've had
Massa still
drivers.
thinks he won a championship in 2008.
And he probably did, in all fairness.
Yeah.
If you take out Singapore farce and the race fixing, then yeah, you could say he deserved to win that championship.
But still, that's 27 years ago.
Well, yeah. But it's there's still a lot of something. Yeah, having never worked at Ferrari, never been there, never really been in embedded in that team. Obviously, there's something going on which is stopping them from being competitive. And I don't think it's a technical issue. I think the car is as quick as anybody. I think it's more a personal issue and a environmental issue. So yeah, if you are Leclerc, and Leclerc's still, I think, probably late 20s. But the clock, who knows what's going to happen? So if a seat did become available at for McLaren, who are competitive, or a Red Bull or a Mercedes, they've all got records of recent championship wins, whether it's driver or constructor.
Sure, yeah.
What is there to say that Ferrari are going to equal that, or better them? It's just the noise that they keep making. They've shown no real traction and no real gain. Obviously, next year is going to be a big test for them, with the new regulations coming through from the aerodynamic and engine side. But, so you'd imagine you're going to have Ferrari, you're going to have Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren in the mix next year. You can probably throw Aston Martin in there, rightly or wrongly, with the development and the ability that Adrian Newey is going to bring to the platform.
Yeah.
So, you could see Ferrari even further down the pecking order if.
And we got some other wild cards out there, like Williams.
Yeah,
Williams
they're obviously
getting better every week.
Yeah, the trajectory they're on is very, very positive. Who knows? I know they've been poor this year, but you could see one of these teams that's been really bad this year. Alpine could have thrown all of their resources into 2026 car, as Braun did back at Honda, Braun, whatever you want to call them, back in the day in 2009, when they realized from an early stage, well, we've got a shitbox of a car, we're going to forget about it, and we're going to put
this
all
year,
of our, Alpine could be doing that in the background. For all we know, Alpine are going to rock up next year with a world beater. I think they get Mercedes engines next year as well. So who knows? But yeah, if you're at Ferrari, if you're Leclerc, you think, well, I've been here 5 or 6 years now, whatever it is. Never really had a shot at the championship. Yeah, get the odd win here or there, great. But that's not a legacy,
No, not at all.
There's plenty of drivers out there, not being disrespectful to them, Coulthard, Webber, Ralph Schumacher, guys out there that have won a handful of races.
Ferrari guys, yeah.
Yeah, they've won a handful of races, wrong place, wrong time, never got the championship.
John Lacey, yeah.
Yeah,
Patrick Depailler,
Yeah.
A lot of guys out there who had a respectable career, but nowhere ever near contending for the title.
And I think Leclerc's better than that. I think genuinely if you put him in a car, if you had him in this year's McLaren or some of the Red Bulls or Mercedes that we've seen in the last 10 years or so, he would have been a genuine championship contender. And at some point, he's got to say, yeah, Ferrari have done a lot for me. Ferrari have nurtured my career, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. But, where did that stop? Where loyalty only gets you so far. And at the end of the day, you got to look after them. But it's the same way that Hamilton did when he left McLaren and went to Mercedes. Everybody was blown away by that. But he did it, as history proved, he made the right decision. But could Leclerc be the guy that builds a team? Could an Alpine hire him and build a team around him? Could he replace Alonso, Aston Martin in the near future? And if they don't get Verstappen,
yeah, because Ferrari was a mess when when Schumacher came to them.
Yeah,
and
they were prepared to build
5 championships. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. A team has to be prepared, and they did that when they. But you look at it wasn't just Michael Schumacher. The son, Rory Byrne, the designer from Benetton, Ross Brawn, who's the technical director from Benetton. A couple of other guys came over from Benetton as well. They signed the package, if you like.
Yeah.
Jean Todt went in there and said, right, we want to do what Benetton are doing and make a quick car and be competitive. So we just hired everybody from Benetton, basically.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are
days.
running out of time here, but I did really quickly want to mention there are, I think, 4 open seats in Formula One for next year because Mercedes today confirmed that both Russell and Antonelli will be returning to the team.
Yep.
So those seats are locked up. So we've got both Racing Bulls are open for next year, 1 Alpine seat and 1 Red Bull seat.
Yep.
Now the Red Bull seat is obviously Hauger is the one who's mentioned most in conjunction with that. We could probably see Sonoda drop back down to Racing Bulls or just out of the sport entirely.
Which would be a real shame, I think.
Yeah, but anybody's guess on the other open seats there. So
yeah, I mean, I think the Red Bull one, you'd look at it coming through the Racing Bulls one, whatever they're called these days.
Yeah,
I think that would come from within. I know there's a couple of kids in Formula 2 that they've discussed. Again, nobody really digging up any trees in that category right now from that family. And, Alpine, they've been talking about Jack Doohan getting another run towards the end of the year to see if he can regain some of that form that they had that put him in the seat in the first place. Colapinto's had a reasonably solid season, I think, and again, nothing amazing, but it's a difficult car to drive and they're struggling. So it's difficult to really evaluate a driver based on that. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
So that's the checker flag on tonight. So I want to thank you, Richard. Thank you, Lee. I want to thank our fine producer, Mr. Keith Hayes and Sinister One Productions. I want to thank ERA, Jesse Iwuji, Emmett Smith. I want to thank NASCAR on Fox, San Diego 2026, NASCAR 25. I want to thank Million Podcast. I want to thank Facebook Live, YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok. Most of all, I want to thank you folks that logged in and watched us tonight. I know there are a couple of internet sites out there that were down, but I do know we went out live on Facebook, so at least we had that. But our replays are always out there for you. But until next week, have a good night.
Thanks for watching Drafting the Circuits. Make sure to follow Drafting the Circuits on Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. Drafting the Circuits is a Sinister One production.